Dear Thay, dear Sangha, with my practice I have been realizing how deep and how strong were the ideologies I built as a child to protect myself from the instability of my environment, and how important for my inner balance it became to be first at school, and how I unconsciously took the habit of always looking at me as the first to hide my fear and to give me illusory confidence. And I know that this coming school year will be academically very challenging. So I'd like to have some advice on how to practice in order to go through this year while these ideologies, which were the ground I stood on, are falling down.
Dear Thay, dear Sangha, our friend shared that since she was a young girl, she had a lot of ideologies that became part of her, including the need to be number one at school. And being number one at school helped her overcome her fear and gave her confidence, striving to be number one. But since she has been here, she sees this ideology, this need begin to fall apart, and it's as though the ground on which she stood is falling apart underneath her. But she still has a coming school year. So she's asking Thay for some guidance how to go forward in this year to come.
This is the concern of many people in the military, in the business circle. People want to be number one because they believe that to be number one is a basic condition for happiness. And that is a kind of a view. It has been transmitted to us by maybe our ancestors and maybe our collective thinking. And because of that we have to strive day and night and tire ourselves out. So that view is very costly. We have to pay with our whole life. And we may not experience joy, happiness, relaxation because we hold that kind of view. And maybe we ourselves, we do not want to have that view. But that view has been transmitted to us, and our parents are trying to force it on us, and also society is encouraging the same kind of view. And it's based on the wrong view of self, wrong view of self. Lead to the wrong view to be number one, because if there is no self, and there will be no number one. So meditation is an act of looking deeply, and when you look deeply, you have a right view. Why do I have to be number one? Is it a necessary condition for happiness? Why my ancestors, my parents want me to be number one? And we can find many answers. Maybe our ancestors wanted to be number one, but they could not, so they want us to do it for them. So we have meditated on that, every time we come up and chant, we say that let us breathe as one body, chant as one body, and listen as one body, flowing like a river, and transcend the illusion of the separate self, overcoming the superiority complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex. That is to help us to see we have to abandon the wrong view of the self. And with the wrong view of the self is gone, the wrong view that number one is the only condition for you to be happy will be gone also. But sometimes we don't want to be number one. But it happens that we have to be number one. And sometimes, very often we want to be number one, but we do not become number one. We think that the president of a big country like Barack Obama is a number one, the most powerful person in the country. But I think Mr. Obama knows better that he is not powerful enough. He does not have enough power. He feels very powerless. There are many things he wants to do, but he cannot do it. So if he does not have enough power, how can we have enough power? And is the number one happy? And that is our meditation. So what do we want? To be number one or to be happy? So when we are able to transform our view from wrong view to right view, not only help ourselves, we are liberated, but we liberate our ancestors and we liberate the world from the wrong view. That if you don't become number one, you cannot be truly happy. And when you are a student, if you study only to become number one, you are not a happy student. Because to study can be a very wonderful thing. There is a need to learn, to understand. Because we have two basic needs. We want to understand the world, we want to understand life. And then the second basic desire is to love and to be loved. So the two basic needs is to understand and to love. And to be a student, you have a chance to learn. You are curious about things, and as you study, you satisfy your first need to understand. So to study is very fulfilling. A good teacher is also someone who studies all the time, because he knows that he knows many things, but he can know more. So both teacher and students get a lot of happiness while trying to find out more about reality and to understand more. So if we study like that, our academic year will be wonderful. But if we study just because we want to get a diploma to be number one, we will suffer for the whole academic year. So up to you to decide. And if you change your view into a right view, you are making a revolution. Yeah. And many young people, if they see you happy, and to be happy does not mean that you study, you don't study well. when you are happier, when you study better, and even if you don't want to be number one, you must be the number one. You see, so that is why there are those of us who do not want to be number one, but it just happened like that. That is a byproduct only. The first product is happiness. So I think that we have to tell our friends in school, both teachers and students, that our aim is to be happy and not to be number one. And our happiness can be recognized by other people, and we can set an example for other students, also for our teachers. Good luck.